But really, what we are here to do is to talk about how to design a scalable advisor marketing program that drives growth. And I don't think we could have two better people to talk about that than Shannon and Susan because they've both done it before with great success. So, ladies, we are really going to just pick your brains today and also get to show off some of the ways that FMG makes it so easy to do. So, why don't we get started by just really setting the stage? Susan, do you want to start here?
Yeah, actually, I mean, Shannon, I'd love you to tell everybody a little bit about your firm, and then we can, segue into what made you wake up one day, or probably multiple days, and have passion around building an advisor marketing program.
Absolutely. Well, RFG, we are on a mission to help independent advisors build their business without compromise by driving organic growth to create enterprise value. So I think one of the key things, since we're going to be talking about marketing, is when someone asks you what you do, have your 90-second spiel, your mission statement right at your fingertips. We are a platform that serves independent advisors. So we wrap around them all the services that they need: compliance, technology, investment management, coaching, talent development, as well as marketing growth services. So we come at it in a mindset of wanting to be the premier destination for independent advisors who want to build their business, who want to drive organic growth, and who want to create enterprise value.
Awesome. And I think I met you for the first time. I think it was at a wealthmanagement.com event, maybe like 3 years ago, but I think it was soon after you joined RFG, or pretty early in the game. Maybe tell us a little bit about, as you joined and what you were trying to accomplish and how marketing fit into that.
Oh, it's so fun to take that walk down memory lane. So I joined RFG in 2015, and the company was founded in 2003. So we call it RFG 1.0, was a super OSJ, 100% custodied at LPL, really delivering, the majority of the value proposition came from reselling what LPL had to offer. And we had a much more innovative and disruptive vision for what we believed would really allow and empower independent advisors to have not only the tools and resources they need to deliver an exceptional client experience, but to be truly like thriving in their businesses, to be energized by their practice and what they were building. So RFG 2.0 was born in 2015. We tore the entire house down to the ground. We built it intentionally from the ground floor up to deliver this suite of services through our platform to independent advisors. We did a broker-dealer change in 2018. We became multi-custodial, and we focused in on how do we have the most robust concierge growth-focused services in the business. And we took a little bit of an innovative approach to that because we recognized that in order for growth to scale and for advisors to be able to tap into that elusive organic growth, it has to touch every facet of the business. So you can't, on one side of the equation, talk and think about and architect this incredible marketing strategy if it's out of sync with your technology, or it's out of sync with your investment management, or it's out of sync with your compliance department. All of it needs to be curated in an ecosystem. And since those early days of building RFG 2.0, we're now in the 3.0 chapter, really turning up the heat and taking it to the next level. It has been about that seamless integration of wrapping the services around the advisor and recognizing that a successful marketing strategy is dependent upon the totality of that ecosystem working together. It can't just be a bolt-on or an add-on or an afterthought. It has to be intentionally curated into everything that the advisor is doing. If their goal is, which our advisors share this as a goal, if their goal is organic growth and driving that enterprise value over the long term.
Awesome. All right. So organic growth is on the mind of pretty much every advisor I talk to and every firm. One of the unique things about this workshop that we're doing is, Sam and I do a lot of these presentations, and we're generally talking to individual advisors about marketing best practices. And this is really our first opportunity talking to firm owners, and those that may either be part of an ensemble all the way up to potentially an enterprise looking to grow and scale for multiple advisors. So if we hone in, I totally get, organic growth and everything is a very interdependent ecosystem of lots of different elements. But if we focus in on marketing, what were the pain points that you were looking to solve for in a marketing program for your
So
advisors?
this was a big unlock for us. Was there was a fantastic Accenture study that was released several years ago, and it talked about what are clients looking for in their advisor. And if you ask an advisor this question, you might more often than not get a very technical answer
Yeah,
around investment returns and
right.
financial planning and all these things. But the Accenture study said this is what clients are looking for in their advisor. Number one, do you share my values? Number two, do you get me? And number three, do I want to spend time with you outside the office? And we distilled that study down into an overarching principle that really guides our marketing program and ultimately led us to partner with FMG and build our marketing platform. And it's very simple. People connect with people. And one of the most powerful realizations along that, that kind of processing that we were doing, that thought processing that we were doing, is that advisors have an incredibly powerful why. Every single advisor is called into this industry, at least all the ones that I've met, all the ones that we serve, are called into this profession because they want to be of service and help people. There's always a story behind why they decided to get into the business, why they are energized by the work that they do. Why does this matter? And that is just like absolutely tailor-made for a marketing program and for a marketing strategy. But advisors are so buttoned up and locked in, and it's not necessarily their superpower. They don't necessarily feel comfortable designing a marketing platform and a program. How do I post on social media? How do I build my website? How do I have a consistent stream of content? How is my nurturing campaign with prospects and clients reflective of my why, reflective of my values? And so often I think, compliance shuts down advisors
Right.
because they tend to get too technical, when in reality, most marketing needs to be more emotional in nature. So
And
we
I,
had this epiphany around people connect with people. And what we wanted to do, and we'll get into it, Susan, because I really want to tell the story about why FMG. What we wanted to do was really unlock that and make it easy for our advisors to tap into that very simple fundamental principle. This is all about people connecting with people. And if we can help advisors tell their authentic brand marketing story, help them share their values, help them demonstrate why they get their clients and how and why they want to spend time with them outside the office. It felt like a solid gold kind of situation and was somewhat innovative and different than the way the rest of the industry was thinking about marketing and marketing as a growth service.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I built a program for advisors at Cetera Financial Group and Advisor Group, now Osaic, and the challenges were the same. It was, I totally agree. It's about presenting yourself authentically, but there are a lot of studies that one thing that can differentiate an advisor, because we know there is a sea of sameness out there with the way advisors describe themselves, is also providing education and content, and that content marketing being really critical, but
Mm-hmm.
like it's a lot of work. And they just are like, can you just, Sam and I say this all the time, we'll coach. And
Right.
then I'm guessing everybody on this call would be like, that's great, but could you do it for me?
Can you do it
So,
for me? Uh-huh.
so describe what you were, I'd love to hear why you chose
Yeah.
FMG. And, if you were to describe the marketing program that you've built, really in, the nuts and bolts of what it does for people, what you've built on FMG. Take us through that.
So we did an exhaustive RFP process. We looked at every single vendor in our industry, as well as several that were outside of our industry. And for us, it's table stakes to have this ability to fully integrate into our technology ecosystem, so into our CRM. So we had that as a as a disqualifier. If anyone
Yep.
wasn't able to do that, then we eliminated them out of the gate. And then what we needed to do was build a
And
custom
you're on
engine.
Salesforce, right?
That's correct. We're on Salesforce. So build a custom engine on top of a powerful chassis, because we wanted immediately to be able to offer advisors the mechanism by which to film video, to create custom content, so that they could have unique, branded, authentic, socially like exciting content to share alongside what I will call the more common, like evergreen, prepackaged content. So it's important to have that as a library in their back pocket. But we
Yep.
wanted to build on top of that library and have all of this like skills and tools and resources for video, for custom content, for equipping them with the prompts to be able to feel confident on sending out a 3-week long nurturing campaign ahead of Mother's Day, or thinking about how they're going to distribute via video an introduction to their team when they're onboarding a new client. So we wanted to be able to address both existing clients as well as prospects, do it in a way that is customized and leaning heavily on video. And then on top of that, which was really like, I think some of the magic of what we're creating, is we wanted to be able to build in the same way that you all have built your library of evergreen content that you're feeding to advisors. We wanted to sit on top of that and build resources for our advisors and campaigns, and just, we call them toolkits, build toolkits of marketing content that we've created that's customized in our advisor's voice that they're able to then use, so that you have this kind of trifecta of resources addressing and answering that question of, well, can you just do it for me? Because if you have the FMG evergreen content, you have this bespoke library that RFG is creating in response to requests from our advisors. And then you have this engine to be able to do highly customized and personalized to the advisor and their brand themselves. That's a powerful way to approach this whole marketing ecosystem for them.
And one of the things that I think you hit on that I just wanted to point out is that, can be really problematic when you're thinking about building a marketing program that you can use as both a recruitment tool, but also satisfies the needs of everybody that's already on board, is that people are all over the board of what they feel comfortable doing. If they want to get on video, if you're listening in, a lot of you might be hearing video and think like, I'd love to record more video, but I don't feel confident.
Oh,
And so I think one of the things that's really important when you're thinking about building out a program like this is one that will make everyone in that ecosystem happy, right? So the
Right.
people that are like, I don't have the time or bandwidth, I really need to use the turnkey solution where I'm not going to personalize it that much right now and make it my own, all the way to the people who are like, we already internally are making all these videos and putting ourselves out there, and we want to really customize everything. And so I think people are really pleasantly surprised, Susan, mistake me if I'm wrong, when they come and they look at partnering with us, that is exactly what we can do, that we
That's right.
can, whether they're, whether the advisors that they're working with are really kind of newbies to marketing and they don't have the
oh,
time.
like 101 up to
Yep.
graduate level. Yep.
Yeah.
And
And then so it allows everyone to be consistent. Because what you don't want to do if you're listening to this is build a program that's setting people up to feel like they're failing right out of the gate because they can't hit those milestones of
Yep.
doing whatever it is that they need to do. We want them to feel successful.
Yeah.
From a behavioral psychology standpoint, I think in marketing, like one of the things that I really try to coach people on is just get it out there, right? Be consistent. If you don't look back at your first iteration of your first video or your first social post and sort of cringe a little, like, oh, that wasn't that great, then you waited too
Or
long.
just the last one I did. No.
Yeah,
Right.
you're just a little iffy about the first version.
So Sam, you're so right. And something that we do specifically on this, to your point on consistency, is when we're on the engine that we've built is called Pathfinder. So when we onboard advisors into Pathfinder, we help them go through the FMG content and identify, like, this is something that connects with me. This resonates with my client experience and my brand. And you can, simply subscribe into it. So now you've kind of checked the box, like, I know that content is going to be going out. And then we're always creating, just as a baseline, our market commentary from our chief investment officer, as well as our commentary from our chief behavioral officer. So you've got the FMG evergreen content, you've got, timely market commentary, you have content from our chief behavioral officer, really on the human side of money. And so at a very low lift, you now have pulled out of the FMG library something that really speaks to the advisor and that they feel their clients will really benefit from. And then these two other automated campaigns that you can just set it and forget it. And then you can start, layering the custom content and you build from there. It is I think one of the best pieces of advice, and I think one of you gave it to me, is like, you don't have to be an expert on day one. Like, this is wading into the water very, very gradually and getting your feet wet and becoming comfortable with it.
Yeah, and I think, not everybody probably even knows how the FMG platform works for enterprises. So I think one of the challenges that enterprises have is how to scale marketing support. You have lots of different advisors, as Sam said, they're at different stages of sort of their marketing expertise and comfort. You want to build some coaching around something, but you can't customize marketing strategies for every one of your advisors. So what our platform does is enable, as Shannon said, it enables you to have a marketing automation platform that you can private label. So Shannon and RFG, they call theirs Pathfinder. You create a brand around it, a strategy and a philosophy of marketing around it, and then you can put your own content on the platform to enable advisors to distribute it as is or to edit it, and then complement it with the FMG library so you're not completely dependent on your own writers for everything. So that's just a little bit of background, but tell us how it's worked and maybe some success stories to help the audience kind of envision, how, when you rolled it out, what was the reaction, and maybe, what were some early adopters, feedback.
So it's here's what I will say, and I think this is like fundamental setting the table, is that we're in a market environment right now. I was just at the Tiburon conference a week ago, and they were sharing the organic growth numbers in our industry for 2024.
Not good.
1.4%. Like, it's going the opposite direction that we would expect it to be going, considering, and I think we all agree on this, we are in a bull market for advice. There are more people who are seeking advice. There is a tremendous amount of value that advisors bring to the table of being a financial life coach. So we've got this organic growth, problem that the industry is trying to solve. So, we recognize that we want to help our advisors grow double digits organically, and that is a focus of our resources. So as we were thinking about designing a marketing program with FMG, creating this chassis, being able to roll this out to our advisors, we had in our minds out of the gate, we want to support organic growth. Where are the biggest hurdles to that? So here's where I'm just going to walk through why I think we're in a 1.6% organic growth environment. Is that when you look across the board, the majority of advisors are spending maybe 1% of revenue on marketing. And most of that is in this very kind of ad hoc way. They're putting into the bucket around marketing, like, I'm meeting with a COI, I might be doing a client event, but it's not exactly. It's not an intentional strategy. Yeah. So you've got low single digit organic growth. You have the majority of advisors not investing in, a high growth company is going to spend 8 to 12% of revenue on marketing growth services. So there's just a big gap there. So when we talk to our advisors and they want to grow organically by double digits, they had the same problems that I think probably all the advisors on this call have, which is, do it for me. How do I invest in this? Where do I invest in this? What can I do? So we wanted to wade in very, very slowly with them. So we built the underlying chassis. We have the tools to be able to do the custom content. And then we started with just some frequently asked requests that we had from advisors. The very first one was about events. Like, can I do a better way of promoting my event, following up from my event, capturing feedback from that event, celebrating it with clients and prospects that might not have been there? And that, to me, when you say that, that seems so obvious, but it's
complicated. I mean,
but it's
nothing makes
complicated.
it easy. It's hard without technology. So
That's
And
right.
the percentage of advisors that are hosting successful events as a prospecting tool is incredibly low, yet we know it's one of the best ways for lead
That's right.
generation. And digital is such a great way to do it because you can repurpose them. I mean, obviously in person, they both work for different
And
purposes
it's
and
free.
different times. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, because ultimately, like, what is an event? People connect with people, like that. They can feel it very tangibly. So we're like, all right, let's start just helping our advisors and teaching our advisors how to have a more systematic approach to event planning and follow up. So that was kind of one of the first toolkits that we bought, then that we built. Then we have our female focused recruiting and prospecting initiative, Strong Her Money, which is designed to empower women to live financially fearless. So we support our advisors to have intentional conversations with their female clients to build bridges to the next generation, and then also use it as a prospecting tool to really capture those assets that are in motion as a result of death or divorce, or just show up in a way that makes sense to be able to speak authentically to their female clients. So we created a toolkit around women in finance. And this is campaigns that are women, not women in finance. We call it women in finance, but these are campaigns for Stronger Money. So you're looking at what are the drip marketing campaigns that you can just show up
I have
and
a
say,
question
I
too that
see you, I hear you.
would be so helpful for everyone listening is like when you talk about like an email drip campaign. Can you give us like very specific, like how, if somebody's like, yes, I want to do that, how often are those emails going in, and do they just set it up once and it just is automatically sent out to that list and they don't need to like keep going in and doing it, right? Like they activate the list, they activate the campaign, and
okay, so that's a great question. And let's take a really like easy example that every advisor does: onboarding a new client. So a drip marketing campaign associated with onboarding a new client is you just go to your whiteboard and you think, how do I want to communicate with this client when they're coming in the door? So best practice for our advisors: record a video, introduce yourself, introduce your team. So that's email number one. We're excited to meet, we're excited to serve you. This is our team. This is who we are. So that email, every time you onboard a new client, that's the first email that goes out. The next email, and this is, advisor to advisor specific. Everybody has their own way that they like to onboard clients and serve clients, but I'm just going to give an example here of one that we
can all be customized in FMB2.
Exactly. It can all be customized. So you do that first one, you've recorded this video one time. This is me. This is our team. We're really excited to work with you. And the beautiful thing about TikTok is this doesn't mean you have to like hire a production studio and do hair and makeup and like it's got to be this like razzle dazzle. Like the clients just, when they see you on video, they feel like they've met with you in person, and you have a higher click through and open rate with video. So I'm here, I'm holding, I've got my phone set up in my office. We're excited you're here, blah, blah, blah. Send out that video. The next one is we schedule all of our client meetings via bookings. Microsoft Bookings. Here's how you use the scheduling link. This is how you get in touch with us. So that's email number 2. Email number 3. This is our calendar of client events for the rest of the year. We can't wait to be with you. We've got our summer barbecue. We've got our holiday party and toy drive. And then we're going to do XYZ. So now every time you onboard a client, they're just opted in to this drip marketing campaign journey. And you can do that for prospects. You can do that for segments. So the female clients in your book, the wine lovers in your book, the dog owners in your book. And all you're doing is you're going to your whiteboard and you're asking yourself, if I was going to sit down at my computer, if I had all the time in the world and I was going to sit down at my computer and I was going to send a personalized email to let this client or prospect know that I was thinking about them, what would I like it to say? And then you just, that's your, and that's the brainstorming session. I want this, I want this, I want this. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you build it in Pathfinder, and now you subscribe your clients and prospects to it, and you set it and forget it, and you don't worry about it again.
Yeah. And one, you know, again, to hit on one of the major challenges, certainly I know I had when I was trying to build a program, was the scaling part, and the fact that many advisors don't know where to start and don't even want to take that first pass. And so I thought what would be magical is to provide them with 90% of what they need and let them customize it. So I know at Osaic, they've private labeled the FMG platform. It's called My CMO. And there's a new client onboarding campaign in their library, just like yours. And everybody can just tweak it. It probably works. I mean, a lot of advisors just use it as is, but one of the main strategies when you're building an advisor marketing program is, one, you need the tech to enable you to scale the distribution, and you need it to make it easy for advisors to execute, and you need it to be easy from a compliance standpoint. So that's really some of the 3 main things that I think FMG helps enterprises do. Is content library on a marketing automation platform enables you to put your own content, advisors can access, and then it automatically routes through compliance, making that even an extra benefit. But taking this new client onboarding campaign as an example, any enterprise that's interested in creating a scalable program can decide what content do they want to develop and put on the platform that advisors can use as is for some that want to just take the easy way, or see it as 90% and edit a little, or some that'll see it as 50% and edit completely. So talk about your strategy for developing that content library, because I think everybody on this call is thinking, okay, many don't have a big team.
Yeah.
They're, probably like feel a little overwhelmed with that concept. So how did you start slow? Did you need to hire somebody? What was your content library strategy?
So we have made a big investment in this. Like, I will, just acknowledge what it is. Unfortunately, marketing has a tremendous, I think, ROI in driving organic growth for an advisor, helping them convert prospects, helping them deepen those client relationships. But it is not something that you can have the mindset of, I'm just going to, I'm going to invest 1% of revenue. It has to become a priority. You can't simultaneously say, I want to drive organic growth, but I'm not willing to make the investment. As a platform company that prioritizes independence and helping advisors build enterprise value, the single biggest factor that is driving enterprise value is, what is your organic growth? So for us to make a significant investment in both the team as well as the technology to support our advisors to do that, it was worth doing. So it is, everybody's got to find their way on, how do I feel about organic growth? Is it important to me? Do I want to amplify my authentic brand value proposition, both to my clients and to my prospects, and take advantage of what I think are some very exciting digital tools and a way to build that trust equity in your prospects, with your prospects, and in your clients, more than just meeting with them face to face or receiving that COI. So we did build a whole team that wraps around and delivers our marketing growth services. We took it one step further. So for us, we help advisors when they join RFG. We out of the gate build their entire brand. So their DBA brand, their website, their My Why videos, their social media posts, so that when they go live and they stand up in independence and they're in front of their clients and in front of those prospects, it looks like, not only does it look like they've been in business for a long time and they feel trusted and they feel like there's longevity there, but immediately that they have that credibility in place of, you are reflecting in those 8 seconds that I am looking at your social media posts or your website or your video. You are reflecting the trust and integrity that I already have in you and why I've selected you as my advisor. So building that profile and that experience up front. And then on the back end, we build marketing growth plans for our advisors that are customized and aligned to the way they want to grow. So some advisors want to grow through education and educational seminars and events. Some advisors want to grow through podcasting and digital media. Some advisors want to have a very robust SEO strategy, a COI strategy. So it ends up like, there is no shortcut. I think the biggest shortcut that you can have is a powerful chassis and platform, marketing automation platform like FMG. And then you invest on top of that to be able to customize the experience for your firm, aligned with how you want to deliver that experience to your clients and how much you want to kind of buck the trend in the industry and generate double-digit growth.
So
Yeah, we
since
actually,
we're talking about,
yeah.
oh, go ahead, Susan.
I was just going to say, for everybody that's on the call, we have developed an enterprise marketing guide or playbook, an enterprise marketing playbook, which will take you through the whole process that Shannon is outlining, which talks about, how do you choose the right platform for your objectives, but also what is the right staffing model given your objectives? What is the right budget? How do you create a cost benefit analysis that you can use to internally sell this investment? Because it will be some investment. And then a business case template that you can use, because the other thing is always, taking it either to your C team or your board to get the investment, and then also taking you through best practices that we've seen for rolling it out, driving adoption, and measuring success. So Shannon's talked about a lot of those steps. And some of, so Shannon, they've done an A+++ job, and they've really invested in wrapping services and coaching around the platform. But there is, just like advisors can go from 101 to, graduate school, we have enterprises at various sizes that, can pivot on this. They can honestly do a program with one person, developing content, all the way to providing much more robust services. And it all depends really on, where you want this to fit in your value proposition and how important it is, and so on. And a lot of firms will start one place and then grow from there. So back to, I know advisors and firms love to hear case studies. So Shannon, can you give us an example?
Actually, before you do that, Susan, why don't we just do a quick poll? Because I think this was a good time to ask Aubrey if you put it up. If you'd like to learn more about how we at F&G specifically, if you're in charge of growth and you're in charge of getting marketing tools in the hands of your advisors, and it's something you're struggling with, and you'd love to know how we can help you design a scalable program like RFG has built, or just help you with your marketing, let us know. And if you check yes, please, we'll see that and we'll be able to get in touch with you. Everyone will get the playbook regardless. So Susan has a lot of insider secrets from her years of building these programs that she shared in this playbook, which is really helpful. Like you said, even templates of taking it to the C team and getting, some scripting for getting it approved with budget, which I find to be one of the most challenging parts. So yes, almost always. So let us know, but yes, go back to your question.
Well, actually, I'm going to pivot, because Shannon, I'm guessing you also had to create budget for
Oh,
this.
yeah.
And I'm guessing the budget started at X, and then you have to show a little bit of return, and then you can ask for Y. Maybe take us through, not the numbers, but what were sort of the mandatory investments that you made out of the gate in terms of staffing and platform, and where have you grown since then?
It's like anything. I think you're 100% right. You start where you are. You take an audit of how integrated are we on the technology side, because I think one of the biggest mistakes that firms make is thinking that marketing can be this sidecar that's running over here without it being integrated into the rest of their ecosystem. And that becomes just such a significant point of friction for advisors. FMG does a great job of this, they worked with us to be able to integrate this into our tech ecosystem, into our sales force. Because otherwise, if you're saying, all right, you got to log out and you got to log in and go to this different CRM and do these things, like it's too overwhelming for advisors. So I think the first step is really that audit of where are we in our tech ecosystem? What CRM are we using? What are our workflows? And how does marketing really supplement that and then provide this additional incredibly important textural layer of deepening that client experience, driving that client retention, driving that organic growth number, and helping firms ultimately retain the clients and assets that they have, and then capture the assets that are in motion, whether it's from the generational wealth transfer, prospecting, life events that are unlocking that opportunity. So this really was, this has been a multi-year endeavor. So when we started, it was, a tech, we've built a fully integrated tech ecosystem. So that for us was table stakes out of the gate. And then once that was set, we layered on top of it and went through this very extensive due diligence process to find a marketing automation. I call it a chassis, a marketing chassis, in order to build the custom content on top. So we've grown up and grown our skill set alongside, like FMG has been continuously innovating. And I want to give one example of something that we've done that's been really successful. And then part of where this is headed, and this is why marketing is not a static state. This is always evolving. The technology is evolving. The messaging is evolving. Your level of confidence and comfort in getting in front of a video or posting on social or hosting an event and sending a video invitation, that's stuff that you work up to over the series of years. But we're at a really, and I think it's important for you guys because you're doing a lot on this front. We're at a very exciting moment because AI is about to pretty dramatically enhance everything that's happening in marketing, from content creation, video creation, graphics, the ability to engage in LinkedIn, the ability to have more client customization, segmentation. That is all the very tip of the spear of some of the most exciting innovation that I think our industry is ever going to experience.
Yeah, and actually, Sam, I don't know, can we pull up some of the stuff that we're rolling out?
We sure can.
So, to Shannon's point, when you're determining which type of program you want to build, and they're really, as we said, there's lots of different flavors, you're really choosing between whether you want to do a selling agreement with someone like an FMG where you're offering a discount on behalf of your advisors, you negotiate a discount, and you're creating maybe some coaching and some support around using a platform. That's sort of the minimum that has the least investment. Next step up is private labeling it, creating your own brand and adding some of your own content. And that can be as little as a market commentary from your, chief economist or your chief investment officer, to all the way to potentially doing, email drip sequences, COI content, social media content, event content. And so it really just scales from there, and you staff according to how much support you want to provide. AI is going to make this so much easier. And what I love about AI is it enables you to scale your content so that you're writing, let's say you write that, new client onboarding campaign, an advisor can apply their voice print through AI to customize it. So every one of your advisors can be using the same content, but using AI to personalize it. So Sam, do you want to take them through this demo?
Yeah. So within FMG, we have a couple different tools that we're very excited about. So this one is one where within the email platform, you can see how I got there. I just clicked email and then send email. And we have this tool, this AI content builder called First Draft. So you can put in here, what is the purpose of the email? Is it to build relationships? Is it to follow up with the client, to get them to schedule something? But, for our purposes here, we're talking a lot about content and educating people as a way to market to them. And then we have these different types of writing styles. So we've kind of preloaded them based on the biggest buckets we see advisors adopting in terms of their personality, right? Everything from the custodian. I'm really just, the reliable professional you can count on, very professional, maybe a little bit more buttoned up, all the way to somebody who's got some folksy wisdom, maybe tell some dad jokes. We've got different personalities in here. So, and you can play around with them, obviously, but you can pick, one that you think might fit your personality, enter in your prompt. And we do know, right? If anyone here, and actually, I would love to know in the chat, tell us in
Yeah.
the chat. Do you feel like you've gotten better with using prompts with AI? And how often are you using it to help you with writing? Because I don't know about you, Shannon. Susan and I use it all the time to help
All the
us
time.
with all different types of things, right? Coming up with ideas, whether it's an email campaign or event series, whatever. But then so you
And
put
I
your prompt.
love like the name of this being First Draft, because that is exactly the way we want everybody to think about AI. And that's why we built this in the platform, not to be the final draft, the first draft. And
Okay.
by the way, this is not live yet. This is a preview, but it's coming.
Oh
It's
yes, you should
out soon.
definitely mention that. If people are looking for it in
Yeah.
their
They're like, where is
platforms,
that?
right?
I think
Um,
hoping to roll it out in Q2. Are we
okay.
in Q2? We are in Q2. So we've still got it. Yeah, by the end of Q2.
The end of Q2.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. And actually, I don't know, I should know this. If you have to put in here, I am a financial advisor. I think our AI system was built assuming everyone is a financial
Yeah, I
advisor.
think
I'm
so.
so used to writing that I'm going to put that. So I made the prompt not detailed, right? So you want your prompts to be as detailed as possible in order for them to be better. But let's just say I read this and I'm like, yeah, it's pretty good, but just like you use any other AI tool, right? You can just ask it to rephrase it. You can ask it to make
I
it
think it's
shorter.
pretty good. And FYI, Sam has helped train all of our AI. So it is definitely guided by the best in the business.
And what you can see here is we've already got the holds for where the CRM will input your client data. So, pull in their name, their contact information, your name, all of that good stuff. But you can rephrase it. You can add emojis. You can change the writing style to,
Super easy.
a different type of. So this one now, as Thanksgiving rolls around, right? It's just a completely different phrase. And you can even say, make it more professional, make it more folksy, whatever you want. And so what's great about this though is that once you have, your message, you can also give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. So you're training it in your particular voice, as Susan mentioned, and it will remember that. So as time goes on, it is just going to keep getting better at sounding like you right out of the gate. So this is just one of the AI tools we have that the individual advisors who are logging into the platform can use. We also have some new tools coming out for enterprises as well that incorporate AI to make their jobs easier as well. I don't know how much we want to talk about those, Susan.
I think First Draft is something that also in enterprises we think about. One of the I think barriers to enterprises delivering a marketing platform is content development, and feeling like, oh my gosh, we'll never be able to develop enough content. This will enable a very lean marketing team within your firm to develop content that multiple advisors can use and personalize. So I think this is just game changing,
Yeah.
both for the enterprise and firm, but also for the advisor. Then what happens is, depending on your brand strategy at your firm, so Shannon supports independent advisors who use their own brand and continue to build their own brand. There are other firms we work with where there's a master brand and all of the advisors are using the master brand. It works both ways. Every advisor creates their template, which is sort of their branding for their email, links their social sites, links a website if they've got their website. And that branding can be determined by the enterprise, whether they're flexible and it can be whatever the individual advisor or DBA uses, or whether it's the master. And then this email goes out from that advisor and it automatically routes through compliance, because I'm sure there's somebody on here saying, well, what about compliance?
Yeah.
It just routes through compliance like any other email would. And we have actually AI software that is scanning it to make sure that it's compliant and flagging anything that might be an issue, which makes compliance's life even easier. And talk about how compliance has played into this, Shannon. Making things easy from a compliance standpoint for marketing, I think, is as powerful as almost anything.
It is absolutely critical. And I'm so glad you all just shared that AI tool, First Draft, because I think that it's almost looking in the rearview mirror to talk about the cost of building marketing teams and what the investment that we've made in the last couple of years is going to look very different from the investment in the future. Like there's just going to be, you can take a team, you can give them so many more resources with AI, and you're able to have that much more throughput, that much more creative, firepower. So it's a situation, to Susan's point, whether you've got one dedicated marketing resource or a team of 15 supporting marketing, you're going to be able to leverage that in a very, very powerful way. And we are at the starting gate of what we're going to be able to do here. Okay, so compliance. This is one of my favorites because I think it's the single
No one
greatest.
ever says that, Shannon.
Yeah.
No one
It
says
can
that.
be a great differentiator. If you
I
make
think it is
easy,
the single
it's great.
greatest cop out for why I can't do marketing.
Yeah.
Totally.
Compliance won't let me. And
Yep.
here's why. No advisor should be wanting to talk to their client about their most recent stock picks, promising them any kind of future performance, doing anything in any kind of marketing context that is highly technical. And that's where compliance has a heart attack. It
Or
is not
product.
where advisors need to be focusing their creative and marketing energy. People connect with people. Tell me you are, and show me that you are authentic brand value proposition. That means you're telling stories. You're sharing about your experiences. You're talking about your favorite lasagna recipe or the run that you had in Central Park and it inspired you to share a quote that your grandfather had told you when you were 8 years old. That is what people want to hear from their advisor. And compliance is more than within the very bright lines of compliance. So the integration with compliance and having those tools and leveraging some AI tools there was part of that, like, table stakes for us. If it isn't integrated into our CRM, if we aren't able to build custom video and custom content on top of it, if we can't have a streamlined workflow for our compliance, it didn't make it to the final cut. These are some of the key reasons why we partnered with FMG. Compliance has got to be able to process through a high volume amount of marketing materials, especially at a firm like RFG, where our advisors are leaning into their authentic brand value proposition and doing a lot in a very highly customized way. You can't be coloring outside those lines. So compliance won't let me is just either the firm, the enterprise level firm, is being lazy and trying to micromanage down to the lowest common denominator and stifling that connection with the clients as well as that entrepreneurial spirit, or the advisor is being lazy and defaulting to, like, my go-to and comfort zone is talking about technicalities in the market. And I will tell you, every single client feels the same way. Why would I pay you if I'm expected to be the expert in the financial markets?
Yeah, I know. I have debated. I can't count the number of times I've talked to advisors. They love a weekly market commentary. It's one of, it's a popular piece. I've tried so many times to be like, you can stop sending that. Like, it's just reminding the client to look at the market, and you want them just to trust, they've delegated to you. They want you to do that for them. And they'd really love to hear about, like, right down here on this page, financial scams for seniors to avoid. Like
Right.
that they'll
Well,
read, that they'll forward.
like look at what is the best-selling, personal finance book of all time, or at least in recent memory, is Morgan Housel's The Psychology of Money. It's just a book full of
Yeah,
stories
Yes.
about people's personal experiences.
Yes.
that's right.
So 100%. In the interest of time, ladies, because I'm in charge of keeping everyone on track here, we only have a few minutes left. And I know we've given away a ton of stories ourselves, Shannon, of how you guys have really built this program to support your advisors. Susan, I don't know if there's anything that we didn't get to cover that you want to make sure that we end on, or anything you want to show from FMG, but we should do that now if there is.
I just am thinking about, for most of the people that are on this call, if they're thinking about building this scalable program, and there is an investment, as Shannon says, and then of course you're thinking ROI, like I've got to show that it works. Shannon, if you could just speak really specifically about how do you show that it works? I know I used year-over-year revenue growth of those that were engaged, and I defined what I meant by engaged versus those that weren't. And I saw tremendous variation between the growth of engaged versus the growth of not. How do you measure the success of the program?
You have to be data driven as it relates to marketing, because the numbers can get too large too quickly to not have that out of the gate. I think one of the most helpful things, and this is, if I was going to say some advice that I've learned the hard way, is that identifying that framework up front of how are we going to evaluate that ROI, or some of this, like the benefit of having this conversation today is everything has come so much, so much farther along than it was when we started building Pathfinder, now 5 years ago. So we have the benefit of, like, you all have taken this platform to a whole new level, but understanding what is that framework for us, we are tracking at, at a more micro level, because we're trying to help our advisors learn from each other. So when you look at, and revenue growth is a great one, we're looking at organic growth. So that is one of our key metrics, is looking at organic growth and then dissecting it even further to identify and isolate what is translating into the highest growth. Is it coming from events? Is it coming from educational seminars? Is it coming from podcasting? Is it coming from a combination of these different things? So that is, and the thing about it, we have one of our cultural attributes is to iterate to excellence. And that just means having a mindset that this is not carving in stone. There is no finish line. There is no at last, and we're done and it's perfect. Marketing is all about iterating to excellence and having that adaptive mindset around what is working now, what is working and driving organic growth is also contingent on what is fueling the advisors to feel as if they're thriving. You can't enjoy marketing if you're doing something you hate. Like, if you absolutely hate educating, you're going to not be successful running an educational workshop series. If you in your heart of hearts are called to educate, I will tell you that is one of the most powerful ways that you can drive organic growth well north of 20%. But you've got to look in the mirror and say, does that give me energy? Does that not? So that calculus around what is the investment has to be very data driven in terms of either revenue growth, organic growth. You're measuring it. You're measuring each of those different channels that you're leveraging to identify what is working is what is not, and then optimizing towards that. And then you just have to recognize that so much of this is a work in progress. It is not as straightforward as implementing a piece of financial planning software or AI tools for estate planning or AI tools for note taking. Like, marketing has much greater depth and nuance to it, But when it is harnessed, it is the X factor to be able to drive organic growth, which is the number one driver of an advisor's enterprise value. So it's worth it if that is ultimately your goal. If your goal is to create a firm that has enterprise value embedded in it, then you need to have a thoughtful and well executed marketing plan to help you really unlock that future valuation.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. You have like just a wealth. I'm sure everybody would love to pick your brain, but thank you for sharing that. And we love working with you, and we'll continue to watch RFG thrive under your leadership, and obviously with marketing being a big part of your value proposition. I know that's why you are successful, and everybody can see just the passion behind it. It is there are a lot of ways to build an enterprise marketing program. And I think if everybody takes away, we have some takeaways from Courtney. Thank you so much. That was amazing to write that up. We are going to send out an email that summarizes some of the key takeaways, and we will share the enterprise guide. And I know I, as well as Sam and the FMG team, would love to talk to anybody that just wants to pick our brain about ways that we could do a program that would fit your goals, which we know are unique as all of us. So anything to add, Sam, or we let everybody go a
No,
couple
I
more?
would just say yes, thank you to everybody who joined. And one of the last things Shannon mentioned was, having that data. And I think one of the great things is that we give you the data both at the enterprise level and the individual level, because it
Yes.
really can be used to motivate the advisors to adopt the marketing. So when they see that their peers are using it and getting X number, 40% open rate on this campaign, and the post that they did that had a personal element brought in 2 new leads, the data doesn't lie and it
And
gets
starts
people motivated.
snowballing,
That's
totally.
right.
Exactly. So we do provide you with both the enterprise and individual data, which is really, really fantastic when you're trying to get adoption going. So thank you to everybody. We'd love to talk with you. I hope everyone enjoys the start of the weekend tomorrow, and
Yay.
talk to you ladies soon.
Thanks.
Thank you so
Great to be
much.
with
Thanks,
everybody.
everybody.